Project Resolve PTS 2 patch notes. Are we ready? Are we ready? You're not ready. You're not. You're not. I promise you, you're not. Right. Balancing. For those conflict players, they've removed the turrets from the conflict spawn zone. I don't know what this means. Dark Zone. Going rogue in the normal Dark Zone now has a 3-second activation timer. It used to be 0.75 seconds before. Talents. Dr. Home got reverted back, and rightly fucking so, because we were immortal. Immortal. I kind of feel like we shouldn't have said anything and just everyone just run around with Dr. Home the whole time and just be like, hey look, game's easy now. Dumb devs. Anyway, PvP only, the fireworks show, festive delivery. Concussion grenades become festive grenades. Hitting an enemy with the festive grenade will cause explosions to happen around 2 enemies within 10 meters, dealing half damage. Whereas it used to just be 20 meters. So they've half the size and half the damage. Let me know if this fixes it, please. If anyone's doing PvP during the PTS, please do let me know if this fixes it. Because as far as I'm aware, they've tried fixing this damn backpack like 3 times in the past like month, and nothing has bloody worked, and I find it hilarious. Unbreakable. Talent change reverted back to 50% from 55. I think it should be 55 from 50, right? Armor repair, whatever. Systems corruption. The 4-piece bonus is changed to 2% damage bonus from 1. And then intimidate. Hopefully this is going to be correct now, hopefully. Because in the PTS 1, the stacking mechanic had changed, as well as the amount of stacks had changed, but they left it at 5%. So hopefully now when they say it is plus 4%, it is plus 4%, although I'm also pretty certain it's not going to be total weapon damage. But only time will tell. And testing. Yes. Note, the list below will change from Phase 1 of the title update 20 PTS and updates made after feedback review. So, all exotic weapons third attribute can still be reconfigured. The Carbine 7 Stoner LAMG will no longer drop with their preset talents, which is quite nice. It makes farming for this beautiful bastard a little bit easier. We don't care about you though, because you're an LMG. ACR and ACRE are still getting their 10% weapon damage. The AKM and the military, black markets and all the other AKMs getting 10% weapon damage. This is actually quite nice, but I feel like they still just need a slight buff to their accuracy. The Orc, Invisible Hand and Bighorn plus 10% weapon damage. I don't remember Bighorn being on that list previously. It might have been. CTAR and Rouse Splitter, 10% magazine size. F2000 are keeping their plus 50 RPM and plus 10% mag size. The FAL and all of its variants plus 5% weapon damage. Military G36 and all variants are going to be getting plus 50 RPM. Honey Badger plus 5 mag size, which I find very weird. M16 plus 10% weapon damage. Military P416 and all other variants, including Eagle Bearer, are still getting their plus 50 RPM. And the PDR, Test Subject and Capacitor plus 10% weapon damage. Brilliant. Right, LMGs. Ta-da. Now, annoyingly, they should have just worded this the same way as they did last time, okay? Because Iron Lung, 10% weapon damage. We know this. Blue Screen, 10% weapon damage. All other LMGs, look, 20, 20, 20, 20, 20, 20, 20, 20. So all the other LMGs are getting plus 20, minus Blue Screen. That's the only change since last PTS. And Iron Lung. Everything else is getting plus 20% weapon damage. This is going to be a huge problem for these, because they now do stupid levels of damage, and these, because they now do stupid levels of damage. So yeah, keep an eye out for anyone posting about the L86 and the RPK, because they are going to be very, very powerful. SMGs, Orgs plus 10% weapon damage and plus 25 RPM. The CMMG plus 5% weapon damage and plus 50 RPM. MP5s plus 6 mag. Weird. MP7 plus 5% weapon damage and 50 RPM. I'm pretty sure the MP7 is now like the new top tier SMG, minus obviously Ouroboros. Police T821 and all variants plus 10% weapon damage. Converted SMG9 plus 50 RPM. The Tommy Gun, Slayer and the rest of that crap, which no one cares about, plus 10% weapon damage. And then the Oompa Oompa Tactical UMP and all variants plus 10% weapon damage. This could also be quite nice, depending on how it goes. Rifles, the huge part of contention. ACRS plus 10% weapon damage. Merciless plus 10% weapon damage. UIC 15 mod 2 plus 30. That's different. M16A2 plus 30. Oh, this could be quite nice, depending on the accuracy and handling of how you could spec it. Whisper could be potentially new best in slot rifle, potentially, just because of the perfect variant. MDR plus 10% weapon damage and plus 20 RPM. I feel like that's counterproductive. Military MK17 plus 25 weapon damage. We actually did test this during the PTS, and it felt really good. It really did feel nice. So yeah, not going to be as much as the M1A series, obviously, but this is a very good variant to utilize. The SIG we also did test, but it didn't feel as good. But plus 25% weapon damage is quite nice. And if you are into your rifles as well as your headshots, Artist Tool with Perfect Rifleman plus 25% weapon damage is actually a pretty easy and efficient way to go. Ravenous, it doesn't need it. Like, seriously, just stop it. And then the UCS 0.45 ACP, 10% weapon damage. And then finally, on this lovely list, Resolute MK47 and the Harmony plus 20% weapon damage. Coming up next is the Marksman rifles. I quite like how they've had to separate the M700. So we've got the M700 Carbine, the Carbine Replica Brutus, and the Tactical are getting plus 20%. But the Model 700, Replica, and Ekim's Long Dick is getting plus 25. They're both getting plus 8 in optimal range. Personally, I feel like just MMRs shouldn't be affected by optimal range. It's kind of the point of an MMR, personally. Covart SRS and the SRS A1, other variants plus 30. Mantis is getting plus 15, so they halved it, which is pretty good. SR1 and variants, including its named designated hitter, plus 30. Paratrooper SVD and just SVD and variants, including Dread Edicts, plus 15. And then the Tactical 308 is getting plus 20 RPM. That's interesting, because this thing actually already hits. Ooh. Interesting. I like it. Right, moving on to the brand sets, and this is where it gets a little bit interesting. Luckily, here's one I prepared earlier. Hopefully I can move that away a little bit. No, wrong way. Cameras backwards. So, here's one I prepared earlier. Alps Summit is going from 20, and 10 to 20, 30, and 30. So it's getting a buff to skill duration and skill haste. China Light is going from 15, 10, and 10 to 15, 20, 20. This is a doubling of skill haste and status effect. Electrique is going from 10, 20, 10 to 10, 20, 30. So yeah, we've now got to deal with all of that crap just to get 30% SMG damage, which I don't see the point in. Just run Sokolov with Hunter's Fury. Empress. Now weirdly, the 10% skill damage has been highlighted, but it still says 10% skill damage. So I don't know whether they've changed it back, which they fucking should, or whether this is just a typo, which I wouldn't be surprised. Hanyu is going from 10, 10, and 5 to 10, again 10. 10% skill damage is there, but we're also getting 10% weapon damage, which is quite nice if you want to go for the 3-piece Hanyu, and this does work quite nicely with its named backpack, Force Multiplier. Murakami is getting stupid, by the way. It's going from 20, 20, and 10 to 20, 30, and 20. Yeah, my Ninja Bike healer build is getting a huge buff. Thank you very much, devs. I don't think you understand how much healing that build is now going to bloody well do. Richter and Kaiser is going from 20, 10, and 20 to 20, 25, and 40. So 25% explosive resistance, who cares, but 40 repair skills could be pretty epic. And Wyvern is getting a 5% increase to its status effect and a doubling of its skill duration. Up next we have our blue core pieces, which, you know, we all know and absolutely love. 511 is getting a 30% increase for its health stat rather than it being 10. But we're also getting 20% hazard protection, which is kind of nice for those Hasbro players. Still going for that 3-piece 511 is a bit weird. Badger Tough, we're going from 10% armor on kill to 15. Bellstone, we're going from 20% incoming repairs to 40% incoming repairs. Get your repairs here. Brazos is going from 20% mag size to 50. Who the fuck is doing that? Gilligard's going from 1% armor regen to 2, which I feel is a nice-ish change. It used to be 3, so they brought it down a little bit because they recognise how powerful all that armor regen is going to be in PvP. Golan is going from 1% armor regen and 5% total armor to 1.5% armor regen. We must do something, but what, Derek? I don't know, Cindy. And then 10% total armor. Hasberg is getting from 15 MMR to 20% MMR, which is really nice, but then they just gone and fucked it by leaving it a status effect, which is going from 10% to 20%. Lengmo is going from 10% skill health to 25% skill health, and 15% LMG to 30%, and then Uzina is going from 10% Haspro to 20% Haspro. And then up last is our red pieces. And are you ready for this? Because I'm sure you can see it. I'm sure you can see it, but just in case you can't see it, right? We're gonna zoom all the way in. We're gonna move all the way along, right? We're reading this, right? We're reading this. 90% health. Oh my god. Oh, please. Please, someone remind the devs that Hunter's Fury is in the game. Please. 3-piece Hunter's Fury, 2-piece Cheska, Ninja Bite Backpack. Thank you for the doubling of my survivability while still dealing all right damage because you put Ouroboros in the game. Thank you, devs. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Yes, we want to create balance and stop pissing around with like stupid mechanics and shit. I know, we'll add more stupid mechanics. Oh, somebody fucking help me. Douglas and Harding, 20% weapon stability to 30%, and then 20% weapon accuracy to 50%. Fenris is going from 20% reload to 30%, and then 20% stability to 50% stability. Grupo is going from 15% explosive damage to 20% explosive damage. Petrov is going from 10% handling to 15% handling, and 20% ammo capacity to 50% ammo capacity. Overlord, 20% accuracy to 30% accuracy, and 10% handling to 30% handling. And then Walker and Harris is getting from 5% damage to health to 10% damage to health. Guys, I just doesn't matter. %90 increase in health. Basically, it's going to double your health, close to. Right? %100 health on kill. Because this is going to go to 90% plus 90% health. Like, do they have fun? Good luck, don't die. It's bad for the health.